Lagos, Kule Afolabi, Akure, Ondo State. And Skyline Solicitors is joining from Lagos, and Sam from Manchester. Good to have you guys all here tonight. And Tolu is also joining from Ibadan. A lot of people are still yet to come on the platform. So please, guys, it's time to just dive into what we have for today and just get it going. Victor Wenga Falabi is already here. PNA, I don't know if you want to say something before we welcome Victor Afolabi.
Can you see me? Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you very well.
Okay. Sorry, my network just went off. I think it's a pity I didn't hear my Canon, my very own anymore, but I think I will watch the replay. Nevertheless, I think when it comes to what we do here, it's all about being pragmatic and being practical. And people, I think we need to explain this. I don't know whether Emmanuel has done that. We need to explain this to everybody. This meeting today, every Saturday, it's for everybody, but not for everybody. The meeting is actually for people who are already in business and we want to scale up. And when we talk about scaling up, we're not just talking about scaling up to level 1. I'm talking about people who want to scale up to level 10, level 20. They're not just starters. They didn't just start business in a year or two ago. They've been in business for a long time. And we also thought about it, and we created a program every Thursday.
Hey, sir.
Can you hear me?
Didn't just start business a year or two ago.
Someone is interfering. I think we need to just mute everyone.
Emmanuel, you know what? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, just go on, bring up our speaker, and we'll tidy up the whole thing at the back end here. Just go ahead and bring up our speaker.
Okay, I can hear you loud and clear, sir. So I'll just go ahead and introduce Victor Afolabi for tonight, and he's going to be taking us on a series, on a session that will build a foolproof business, commercialization, business growth, and sustainability. Please, guys, let's go to the chat box and make welcome Victor Wenga Afolabi for tonight's session. You are welcome, sir. Can you unmute yourself?
Thank you for having me. I'll need to share my screen if it's okay. That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Just a minute, I'm trying to. Yeah, just to be sure you can see my screen. Can everyone see my screen right now?
Yes, we can see your screen, sir.
Good. And I hope there's no echo. I just want to make sure that everything is right before I begin to run us through this session for the next 30 minutes thereabout. So I hope audio-wise, I hope I'm good, and visually, I hope, I mean, my face is not that important. I don't look that good, but if the slides are working for everyone, yeah. I think that will be okay. So you can see this, I can hear my voice, fantastic.
Yes, we can see the slides, we can hear your voice, just that the light is interfering with your face, but it's fine.
Yes, yeah, I think I'll get better the next time. Yeah. It's where I'm up from. Okay, so good evening, everyone, and thanks, President Nia Adesanya, for having me again on your platform to be able to share and rub minds and to learn, it's for us to learn together. So I look forward to everybody being a part of these and contributing, putting your questions, and I think that's when it's going to be a great session. So I'm not the epitome of expertise on this, but I just enjoy to share what my journey has been in the last 15 years around entrepreneurship, both practicing and teaching entrepreneurship across different platforms is what I'd like to share this evening. And I will really look forward to having quite a number of questions and clarifications, and let's just have a robust conversation. Okay, so I think the general theme is basically about building a foolproof business. And this basically is a theme to have series of presentations and conversations underneath it. But this evening, I'll be talking about 3 critical things that, for me, encapsulates the whole journey of entrepreneurship. Okay, it gives you what we call an end-to-end view of what entrepreneurship is supposed to be. And I'll be talking about commercialization. What does commercialization mean? What does it refer to? What are we interpret commercialization? What's the essence of commercialization? What does it mean to commercialize? And why is it significant? We'll be talking after commercial about business growth. At what stage of my life am I? How do I create an exponential growth of my business? How do I move from A to B to C? How can I rapidly accelerate northeast? Okay, so we'll take a few conversations around that. And of course, I will from there talk about how to reinvent success. For some other people also, so you've had a good commercialization, capturing value, you've got some significant growth, you've plateaued. And then you plateaued now. I mean, the only thing looks as if now there's a downward spiral. Bearing in mind also that we've had the COVID, we have a disruption. There's a new world that we all are coming into. So we see quite a number of core competencies begin to wane. And the question is, how do I reinvent success? Okay, at that end, and that's when I'll be talking about sustainability. How do I recreate and reinvent my success when we look at the sigmoid curve of the enterprise life cycle? So that basically encapsulates what I will be talking about. I will end by throwing a framework. So for those who know me quite well, because management consulting is 40, I like to interpret things using frameworks. So there's one of the frameworks, I think in the last session we had in Sheraton, we used about 7 different frameworks to analyze our businesses, but I'll be trying one of those frameworks for the last 5-7 minutes, which just basically gives you a tool. If there's nobody speaking to me and I'm just the only one and I'm analyzing my business, what can I use to tell me this is what, this is how I'm supposed to respond, this should be my reaction. What tool can I deploy? So we'll look at that, okay? Fantastic. So organizations emerging from global economic crisis, and the beauty of this is that this is global. So this is not a Nigerian crisis. This is not, we have leadership issues. We quite understand that. But for the first time, I think every part of the globe significantly has experienced some level of economic disruption. Economic disruption can be brought by so many things, but this came via, of course, a global health pandemic. And what is done is this. There are quite a number of businesses that their competitiveness have waned, and many of them are not even aware of it yet. There are some industries that internally, there's already a dislocation internally, and people are not yet aware of it. And many of these things will begin to unravel. It's like when a loan goes bad, okay, you're doing trial. At times, the loan does not, it's not when you begin to see loan, you see the rising non-performing loans that things have started going bad. It's gone bad a while before then. One of my mentors used to say that she says, when you turn off the fan, it's not immediately you turn off the fan that the fan stops. You know, it begins to have that whining sound, you know, and it's whining down before it really stops. And that's why so many businesses are, as of today, having evolved. But there's nothing as exciting as you being able to quickly do a diagnosis and say, hey, where am I? What should I do? How do I pivot? And I hope we'll be able to learn one or two things around that as we move today. 85% of SMEs is what they said has collapsed globally or are challenged globally. The foolproof business, we need to look at an end-to-end view of business life cycle and see how it moves. And of course, when we look at it, just like anything, every life, when we talk about the life cycle of an individual, of a nation, it's always the sigmoid curve, okay? It's conception, some growth, rapid growth, maturity, and decline, okay? It's the same sigmoid curve that virtually most things in life run through, okay? So businesses run through the sigmoid curve. And I would like to stay at this point to explain what I meant when I started talking about redefining and recreating success. For quite a number of businesses which will experience some level of decline. If you see the latter part of this chart, there is an opportunity to create an intervention just before it comes down. And this is what I hope we'll be able to talk about this evening. What interventions should I do when I do an assessment of my industry that allows me pivot to recreate the success? Every time you play to and decline becomes the next thing, the only thing you can do is to do a reintroduction by a reinvention, a disruption, or what we call pivoting to reinvent success. And that is the way, when you look at organizations that have been around for 100 years, that's what they've constantly done. We shouldn't just think, I think there are quite a number of mindsets that we deal with, nothing lasts forever, which basically are, some hereditary mindsets that we have, it's turn by turn, it's somebody else's time. Those are mindsets that can be captive, that makes you assume that businesses should not be transgenerational or businesses should not go up to a century. The only way business can go beyond the century is when you look at that dotted line, and on the chart, I said that's where you begin to experience a renewal from a declining stage. And that is how to reinvent success. And so when we look at it, it's a cyclical representation. Knowledge about this helps entrepreneurs and leaders optimize growth through the key stages, increasing the value of their businesses. So even though you are plateaued, even though there's a disruption, even though something has happened, what we intend to do tonight, or what I intend to share with us and using framework, is to assess and see, how do I pivot, and how do I reinvent success, and how do I create a renewal from a declining stage, okay? So I'll go, remember we're talking about commercialization, business growth, and then we're talking about sustainability. So when we look at what are the stages in business, of course, everyone is used to that, is growth, is seed, development, and all that. And so it's good to pay attention to that, those stages. And I will start by first talking about commercialization. And I will spend a few minutes to slow down here. Because of what I do and some of the engagements I have, and for many people, I know people are all over the world here, so it might not pass across geographies. But for quite a lot of entrepreneurs in where I operate from, which is the Nigerian climate, I find that quite a number of times people are not able to distinguish between owning a business and having a hustle. So many entrepreneurs still maintain the dominant hustling mentality. It becomes very difficult to implement frameworks when your business, I'm using the word business in inverted commas, is a hustle. And I will define what we categorize as hustle. Yeah, why people like to call it, hustle, if you in the dictionary, is not particularly a very positive word, but of course in the Nigeria terms it's very positive. But from a business angle, when the business is structured as a hustle, it's quite different from when it's structured as a structured business. What then differentiates a hustler from an entrepreneur is about value creation process. So you want to ask yourself, do I have a glorified hobby? Do I have a hustle? Or do I have a business? The acid test for determining that is about the value creation process. Value creation process. Value creation process, everybody has said that is, of course, your money is about value. It's about how you create and capture value. Value is a mix of exchange and all of them. Money is just a mix of exchange and payment for value. Now, that value creation process is in the heart, the bedrock of every business. How do I know if my business is a hustle? If your value creation process is not easily defined, the process is not defined, is not explicit, is not replicable consistently, and easily scalable, you have a hustle, not a business. Science. So remember, when we talk about things that are science, it talks about easily reproducible and generally universal and all that. It's the same thing with business. When that business value creation, how you trap and capture value, you cannot come out clearly to say, this is how I do it. These are the processes. If you take me off it, somebody else taking the process can replicate exactly the same thing and get the same result. If you cannot say, oh, it's replicable, it's explicit, it's scalable, then it's a hustle. If somebody says, I have all the resources, I can give you all the markets, I can give you all the funds, can you move your business from doing 1 million to doing 1 billion? If you have all the resource and you cannot do that, you do not have a business. Because scalability, a key metric in business, is missing. And the last one is measurability. If you cannot scale, you cannot measure easily. You'll find that it's more a hustle, a glorified hobby, or not a business. Let's make it a lot more practical. There are quite a number of people who are entrepreneurs, and when you tell them, they say, I'm a general contractor. While it's exciting to be a general contractor, you need to be able to define the process, because it becomes difficult to scale. If somebody says, take 1 billion, inject it into your business, you now begin to ask, should I continue to supply computers? Should I continue to go to Alausa to collect LPOs? You find that creating structures around a hustle becomes very difficult, because the value creation process is not explicit. For some, actually, it's a glorified hobby. Why do I call it a glorified hobby? When it's something you love to do, but there's no passive value from the market. They're not willing to pay the real market value for it. Or you are not able to articulate exactly the cost input to determine if the value creation process is profitable, it becomes a glorified hobby. For example, quite a number of people, I'm looking for a quick example that comes to my mind. Yeah, they love fashion. Everybody is a fashionpreneur now, or some people do lifestyle. Lifestyle means, quite a number of people in the maybe beauty or makeup industry.
Vijay, can you hear me?
You find out that quite a number of
Vijay, can you
yes,
hear me?
have I lost you? I can hear you.
No, you've not lost me. You're not changing your slides.
Okay, yeah, okay, fine. So I will move. I'll move to the value creation process now. Okay.
Thank you.
I was trying to use that to explain. So you will find out that if you are not able to articulate all the cost that goes in, you find yourself operating more like a glorified hobby, because experts can come in, consultants can come in, auditors can come in and say, this is the value creation process that we're auditing. This is how you exactly make money and trap and capture value. When that is not there, to a large extent, you might not have created a business. Okay, I hope during question and answer we'll get a case study where we can do that. So the most successful organizations understand the purpose of any business to create value for everyone. And the value creation process consists of course, the four stages. And now I'm talking about commercialization. That is what I'm trying to talk about now. Because many people, and quite a number of us as entrepreneurs, there are many things we love, but we've not understood how to commercialize what you love to do. You enjoy doing this thing. How can that thing be? How can you create value around it such that people can exchange? You can say, this is exactly how I add value to people, and this is what people will pay me for this, and it's replicable. That is when you begin to do that, is when you begin to have the commercialization process. Some people wake up and say a lot of that on social media. Oh, I invented a light bulb. I invented a transformer. That's an invention. Until you commercialize an invention, it doesn't become an invention. It's only when you commercialize your invention, it becomes an innovation. The innovation has such value and people are ready to pay for it. So look very well at the things you're doing and investing your time on. Can you explain the value creation process? Is it transferable? Is it easily replicable? And what are the 4 ways or steps of the value creation process? And value creation process is actually the integral of commercialization process. Commercialization is how do I turn my service or goods into a money printing venture? How do I create money from what I know, what I do, what I enjoy doing? How can I create value from it? We've seen a lot of influencers today, and we've seen a lot of people doing skits online and all that. Process. Many of them have become influencers, ambassadors, and all that. It's a value creation process that is about to disrupt the Nollywood industry the way you know it, okay? And many of them are becoming celebrities, in a new platform, in a new world. That's a clear-cut definition of how they've been able to put value around what you enjoy doing, and they can be able to create scale around it. You see some of them begin to have 3, 4, 5 characters that they can use for different things in the value creation process. Are we there? I hope I've not lost us, okay? So the 4 process of value creation. which is the heart or bedrock of commercialization. You need to analyze your market, okay? Analyze, use data. What is happening there? What are people willing to pay for? What is the size of the market? Is there a business there? Can I scale up? If everything is looking positive, is this something I can do for the next 10, 15 years? If you begin to think 2, 3 years, it's not a business. That is a hustle. Because you have a friend in office and he's telling you to tile the road. Can you consistently be able to replicate how you tile that road consistently and begin to look like a Julius beggar? If only it's by patronage, it's a hustle, it's a glorified hobby, you have not created a value creation process. So analyze the market, look at the data, sit down. It's the steps in commercialization, okay? The next thing is, once you have analyzed and said, oh, it makes sense and I go into it, you need to say, how do I optimize this opportunity I've seen? With a process in place to effectively collect and analyze data, you need to now begin to develop scalable processes. This is what I want to do. If in the next 3 to 5 years, I can move from X to B, that's optimization. It doesn't have to be only me. I can have X, Y, Z do this. This is what I will outsource. This is what I'll keep internally. That's optimization. Because if you have not put optimization into your business, you cannot scale. If you cannot scale, it's not a business that's experienced commercialization. You begin to strategize. Your business needs. And how can I get closer to my customers? That commercialization process. You get the ideation. Oh, this is it. Analyze. I want to go into management consultancy. How exactly? Is it by writing books, doing seminar? How can I replicate it? What will people pay? Am I charging per hour? You've gotten the customers. You've gotten the data. You strategize. How can I get through to them? How do I bring into the market? Okay. And it includes information on how you optimize your resources as well as your profitability. Does it make sense? A lot of people go into businesses that are fantastic. We call them nice to have businesses, but they are not a need to have business. Because the market might say, oh, wow, we like it, but they're not willing to pay for it. If they're not willing to pay for it, it's a nice to have. Oh, it's nice, it's trendy. Nobody wants to pay money for it. If nobody's going to pay for it, I'm sorry, you do not have a business. You only have a glorified hobby. That is fantastic. And then, of course, the next thing is you introduce yourself in stage 4 and begin to create your disruption. And so that is the value creation of value capture process. I simplified by saying that value capture is the process of retaining some of the value provided in every transaction. So at every stage of engagement with people, you ensure that you are capturing value and there's exchange. There's something being exchanged. If nobody is paying for it externally, it is over-subsidized. Many people do a lot of things. I'm giving an example. You love to shop for people. People are not paying for it. It's a glorified hobby. There's no value creation. There's no transaction built into it. You have not created commercialization. The last part under this commercialization, I want to rush so that I'm not overstaying my time, is these are the 3 things, the 3 matrix of value capture. 3 matrix. There must be a proposition. What am I offering you when you knock my door? What exactly are you offering? Yes, please.
Sorry, don't rush.
Yes, please.
Don't rush. Take your time. Take your time.
I'm here.
We are here for you. Take your time. Okay. Don't rush, please. Don't rush. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, not a problem. Thank you. Okay, so thank you, PNA. So when you look at the value creation, the value matrix, I put 3 things into what I call the value matrix. The starting part is the value proposition. That is the most difficult part, not the creation. The proposition is when you go into your mind, you see first in your mind, and it ties back into the analysis. What is missing in the outside that I want to fill? You need to first create it from you. What is the pain point of people? What is the tension people are? How do I want to propose something that will answer that before you begin to create? The value creation matrix is at the heart of commercialization. And this is the last slide under commercialization. To commercialize a business, a venture, an enterprise, even a country, you can run the country like a business. For this value matrix, first is the proposition. If you come to me and you say you are offering something, there is what exactly you tell me, let me determine where there must be something you are saying differently. that will make me say, no, this should be in dollars and this should be in naira. I was speaking with a friend and I went to see him. I mean, it's a very good friend of mine. I've not been in crypto, but from what I've seen, I think it will make sense. So I went to the I booked 2 hours of his time. And before it was true, he started saying, well, I'm putting together a club. It's going to be a paid club. And you guys, I mean, we're going to pay $1,000 for all the members of this club. And I'll spend time every week to teach you guys how to do crypto, input funds and all that. The question is, I said, oh, yes. I mean, including the club, I want to be a part of it. I want to learn and all that. You need to do a hand-holding for us through the process. Why will I be willing to pay $1,000 for membership for someone that I met for free for 2 hours? What did I see in the 2 hours exchange? Me investment club with us is value. How did the need state exist? What tension points are we experiencing that will make $1,000 not sound outrageous? Somebody else can come, say the same thing, and say we should pay $100,000 and 100,000 naira and I'm not willing to pay. Value proposition. How do I want to tell the story of this business I want to do? Then the next thing is, how do I create a process? And that's the value creation process. I have now seen I want to go into consultancy. What are the things I want to do? What do I want to offer people? What will be the look of success? When people have seen what I do, what will be the look of success when I've delivered? When you have fully experienced my product or my service, what will be the end point? What will, I mean, you want to train me, you want to transform me, a business transformational coach.
Okay. Emmanuel?
Yes, yes, sir. I think he just went off for a while.
Okay, I think it's back. I think it's back.
Okay.
They just need to unmute him.
Yeah, I'm trying to find him now. Okay.
Okay, back. Yeah, good.
Can I share my slides? Is it okay?
Yes, please go ahead. And I like the emphasis on
Are we good?
Please go ahead, sir.
Did I was ending the creation. That's
No, that's fine. I said I emphasize on value creation and scalability. I was just saying that to wait for
Are
your
we there?
slides.
Have I lost us? Or are we here?
No, we're here. I was just saying that to allow your slides come on. Your slide is still coming on.
Okay. Can we see the slides now, please?
No, not yet. I think it's still loading. I was saying that I like your emphasis on value creation and scalability, and also the definition of a hustle, if it's based on one opportunity, if it's short term, and if people are willing to pay for it. I like some of those descriptions. Thank you, sir. Oh, I think he's gone off again.
Okay, he's back. I think he's off and on. We just have to wait and then get him back finally. VGA, can you hear us?
Yeah.
I can hear you. I'm trying to share my slide.
Right.
Okay, awesome.
While that is coming on, I'll try and log on to another device. Well, I can still keep talking while this comes on and it doesn't disrupt the flow.
Okay, while we're waiting for VGA to get his slide together, Emmanuel.
Yes, sir.
I think we can just ask the people what they've gotten so far, because like we said, this is always practical. So, okay, it's back, it's back. No need, it's back, it's back.
Okay.
VGA, we can see your slide now.
So my slide, please? Okay. Emmanuel, can you see my slide?
Yes, I can see your slide very clearly.
So I just rounded up the value metric, where I was talking about the value creation process, the value proposition, and of course capturing value. So basically, the three.
PNA, I think, is a software problem.
Are you sure it's not a hardware problem?
So we can't hear you. I think you're mute.
Is it good?
Yes. It's good.
Echo. Give me a few minutes to.
When you're ready, we'll be ready for you.
I want to make sure I have another device.
Okay.
But guys, can we just go to the chat box and just type what has interested you since you started listening?
Yeah.
What is a weather problem?
Okay, we can see your slide now, VGA.
Okay, just a minute.
Okay. While we're waiting for that, okay, somebody's saying.
Good. Are we okay now?
Somebody's saying it's raining. That's why probably the network are cutting off in Nigeria.
Yes. Okay, I'm here.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me now?
Take it on. Take it on. Take it on. Go ahead.
I mean, I'll be operating on two devices. So if one of the slides just go now, I'll just keep talking while it goes on so that we don't lose the flow. So I think I was initially talking about ending by talking about the phase of value capturing. And it's about, from the slides, it's proving the feasibility and value of innovation. Innovation, like I said, is commercializing your invention. I have created something to claim, something that can fly, a robot. Until you commercialize it through value proposition, value creation, and value capture, nobody's going to pay for it. It's not an innovation, it's still an invention. Commercialize it, and then you have an innovation. Okay? The other part of it is defining the rules of the game. How do I want to run this business? What's the profit? So I want to be sure you're not hearing echo. Is there an echo in the background?
No, you're fine.
Go ahead, just go ahead.
So the other part is defining the rules of the game. You come together, you work exact value, you decide, oh, how do you run? That's how do we trap the profit? What are the choke points, the difficult points in there? How do we resolve them? Such that we know that we can explain our value capturing process. At this point, I make money. At this point, I make money. At that point, I make money. If somebody asks you from this business you run, share with us 4 or 5 revenue points, all kinds of revenue. Oh, it's subscription. Some people will pay one-off. Some people will pay on project. You can, from your business, show where the revenue streams are coming from and how they will be added up. That is how you define the rules of the game. And of course, maximization will now be how you now drive your proposition, drive your economic model to make at least begin to scale to grow. That is how you commercialize anything that is on your mind. The importance of this is that we should learn how to use commercialization to reinvent success or to pivot in a decline or a stagnation. And that is why commercialization is at the heart of rejuvenating, of refining the operations or renewing of the mind. Businesses that have been around for 100 years, some of them, I mean, things that I think came from farming, some came from farm implements, today they're in household and all that. It's for you to ensure that you can pivot by understanding this opportunity of commercialization. The next part, which is the growth. You have commercialized. You put in the structure. You know your proposition process, value. You know how your transaction point at which you make the money. You can explain your process. It's measurable. It's scalable. The next thing is rapid growth. And this is a point expanding. And what about this? We need to fact the line begins to come because the environment is
okay. VGA. Can you do us a favor, VGA? Can you help us mute one of your devices? Can you help us mute it?
Okay,
mute.
I guess
There's an echo.
Just okay, it should be a lot better now. Much better?
Yes, it is. Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, and detail for businesses. We need to understand the fact that what stage of a business are we? You cannot remain a startup indefinitely. You need to quickly understand how you capture value and your growth strategies to move to where you are going. Create expand, improve where the funds will be made. The question now is how exactly can I begin to expand? And that's what we refer to as the growth stage of the business. And growing is critical for the long-term survival of a business. I remember I shared, and I think the video that was shared earlier on, I was talking, and this for me is a critical part because one of the things that traps most organizational leaders is that we're extremely fixated on our operations only, and we are not thinking that growth is part of a child who is 10 and who wants. So what leaders need to understand is, like, I mean, in the earlier video that was shared, you must get to the level where you split your time between making sure that you are capturing, but you are investing also sufficient time and capability into your business to ensure that you are preparing for the market of tomorrow. Because many of the markets you see today will not be available tomorrow. And there's hardly any industry that will not be impacted. Take an example of the finance industry. The cost of transactions are being halved by the fintech. You can't run against it, okay? It's gonna disrupt. The way people are gonna learn, you will find out that their traditional learning abilities will be challenged. People have come to understand the world of virtual and online. If people understand that world of virtual and online, it means that things will never go back to the point where, for me to run a big organization institution, I need to have a lot of brick and mortar schools, which means I can compete more favorable than with schools that have been established for a long time. Bring it back home. A lot of people used to gather a lot of money to launch movies. Coming out now, coming out soon. They will place posters all over Lagos. That is not happening anymore. I can use short skits and short production costs to produce short skits and be as popular in terms of status with people investing thousands, spending times on location. It has changed.
Yeah.
What that means is, if you are obsessed with today and you are not building and looking for opportunity gaps for the future, you will become a relic. And that is the critical part about business growth. So while you are thinking about how to pay the bills today and capture value today and run your structure today, invest sufficient time. It's called your dynamic capability. Where do you People go for interviews, they say, oh, who do you want to be? And you can say, oh, I want to be a CEO, I want to be a senior executive. For your business also, what is the journey in the next 5 years? Your dynamic capability. What will change? What are the new things that must come in? Because business the competitive advantages always wanes with time. A broadcasting station, a channel, I have those masts, I need huge amount of money and all that. Now it's $10,000 for me to have a channel on a digital cable. $10,000. The rest is investment into content.
Wow.
But before then, you need to spend millions of dollars, mass, omnibus, YouTube things. A lot of people are becoming broadcasters and all that. It must be happening. Are you still calling yourself a startup? Are you still fixated in wanting to build around you and your business is suffering key man risk? Any business that is suffering key man risk and all the strategies and ideas are still in your brain, you are very close to you have not started building a business. The business must be able to be replicable, which means in 5 years, if you change your role, somebody else see the blueprint of the business and capture value the way you were capturing value. 8 ways to grow your business quickly. There are 15 ways, but there are 8 ways, because I know most times I meet a lot of people, how can I grow my business and all that? I mean, 8 ways. The other thing is 8 ways, but execution is the greatest strategy in business growth. A lot of people have wishful thinking. I love to say it's not a problem for you to want to build castles in the air. Just be willing to build the pillars that will sustain your castle. That's all. It's not a crime. Some people woke up and wanted to build a tower to get to heaven. They were purposeful and they were getting there. So you can't dream, but execution is a critical strategic part. Some people like to say, well, execution is not strategy, but no, execution strategy. So while we share these ways to grow your business, understand execution is it's not just taking the notes, it's not just assuming, it's not just saying it, it's not just quoting it. One thing between people who have been successful in business and people who have been trying is this keyword of execution. Ability to execute what you are proposed to do. Get to know your customers. You spend too much time with yourself. The people you have value proposition for, understand them. Do you know the reason why? Their needs are changing every day. The things that concerns me and bother me March 2020 is not what is disturbing me right now. As a client, as a customer, things have moved. So you need to spend enough time with them. If you don't spend enough time, you cannot upsell. Upselling them is a way to see other areas of needs and tension and say, oh, I can also do this. Why will it be easy? They already know you. Already understand how you do value capture, how you capture value. You can increase your value proposition to them. When you increase your proposition, your income, your business expands. Know these customers and their needs. Spend time with them. Ensure your performance engine is working. Some people are thinking about what they want to invent tomorrow, but today all their customers are upset. Your customers today will guarantee tomorrow. Your customers today provide the cash flow you need to experiment tomorrow. All this cash flow to try it. Your performance engine today, which you spend about half, 40 to 50% of your time with functioning effectively. That's customer service. It's you meeting the expectation of the customer today. How do you know? Ask them. Are you happy with me? Many of us don't like feedback. Feedback is a gift, and it doesn't have to always be positive. Feedback is a gift. So ask, what should I do differently? Is there something you would like to change about the way we service you? You need to know that. Nurture existing customers and look out for new opportunities with them. I've said that. These key people, they are your gold mine. That's where you get value from. Look at all the transaction points. Can I scale? I make 3 transaction points. Can I scale it to 8 transaction points? These are the offerings. Can we increase our offerings? That's the way to grow business. Of course, use as many channels as you find them. I can boldly say I'm not somebody that was very strong on social media. about a year, 1.5 years ago. I mean, it wasn't just my key strength, okay? I'm not, my generation we are digital migrants. Born into those digital age. So we struggle at times. There was no internet when I was graduating from university. So we're trying to learn how people do those things. Okay. But now I don't have a choice. Not only am I employing people to teach me, I'm investing sufficient time to improve. Channels have moved, my customers have moved. Customers don't hang out in lounges anymore. They're there. I need to see perception happens there. Because I'm so busy in our business, we don't network. You are just too busy. You must create time to network. It's oxygen for your business. I wanted to say oxygen for your soul, but it's a spiritual meeting. It's oxygen for your business. Network. Do you know what you learn when you network? You get other things. You see other perspectives. You learn new things. You see how other ways are doing it. In fact, go to events and network events of your competitor. What are they doing? Go and experience you have a restaurant, go to a competitor's restaurant and go and eat. No, it can't happen. I'm the best chef. Says what? It might not be the food, it might be something else. Go visit competition, experience competition, drive competitions, use their products. Understand it. When your competitors, invest in your competitor, attend network, host events, give back to community. That's building brand equity. Let people know you. Let them speak favorably about you. And make sure that if you're a business person, minimize as much as possible. You don't always have to say your mind, okay? Perspective differ. Maintain your brand equity and make sure that your equity conveys value to people. Because in the
Okay. Emmanuel, have we lost him again?
Yeah, I think so. He was saying that I like to say my mind. I like to say my mind. You lose your customers. Wow, what I was really getting a lot from.
I think it's back.
Okay.
We're having a wonderful time with network today.
I'm sorry, I'm just struggling.
Don't worry, we understand perfectly. Just go ahead.
Yeah, so my network guy is very in the country we're in. While my screen comes up, I was in the office yesterday. We have lines were down, so we called the internet provider, and I was quite livid because I do a lot online. And the guy says, "I'm sorry, I apologize, Mr. Palabi." I said, "I'm going to throw you out. I'm going to fire." So the guy said, "Do you know what happened, sir?" I said, "Tell me." He said, "Before we woke up in the morning, all our cables have been stolen." Wow. So we only have empty junction boxes, the cables stolen. I wanted to first think he was lying to me. Then I remembered I saw on social media that people away lines and they were cutting it. So I knew that everything is possible in this country. Now, a fiber that comes into the house, I'm stable. That's why I'm rather in the house. But this level of instability, maybe somebody's also stealing some people, as the case may be, and we're only at because this environment is a wonderful environment. But I'll try to quickly finish such that we get the crux of it. I hope I've not lost us, please.
No, you've not.
Okay, I seem to be talking. Have I lost us?
No, not at all. Not at all. Good. 8 ways to grow your business.
Yeah. Okay. Can I continue? Good.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you can.
Okay, so the last one is measure what works. Measure what works and refine your approach. That's where feedback is critical. A lot of all is, I'm not generalizing. We do not like for our performance to be measured. As a business, send questionnaires out. Let people tell you. so that you can refine your. I tell people that indifference to you is worse than people hating you. When your clients are different, you do it well, it's bad. The business is on rapid decline. For anybody, that's not what it means when your wife becomes indifferent or you are in a relationship. That's the same. Measure and refine your approach. Sustainability is the last part. Okay. You need to use of that decline. You need to use innovation to consistently reinvent success. Business doesn't jump. You're going to, I'm selling car, I'm selling restaurant, to run internet cafe. Next tomorrow, that's not how it is. You can't always reinvent success. However, to reinvent success, you need to be sure that you are creating innovation, that the value proposition is clear. It either improves your profitability or improves your product offering. When you improve your long-term sustainable. If you are not innovating, your profit will be on the decline. I can give you a clear-cut example. There was I industry strongly, and I remember when I in 2010. Few places in the experience advertising, which was the first fees was what we were being paid. 15% agency fees. We were being paid 60% mobilization up front. 40 invoices were paid 2 weeks afterwards. You didn't need bank money. The profit margins were huge. We were making 55% profit margins, between 50 and 60% profit margins, 2010 to 2012. Things happened. The recession happened. Everybody ran into it. Today, we're talking 100% agency fees, days payment terms are coming up. If you are not innovating and creating new alternative platforms, you will pack up. Why? Making cannot cover the amount you're spending because even talent is very expensive now. That's the typical example of the changes that can happen to an industry in 10 to 12 years. The fact that COVID and all that has happened, which has made it worse. So you are not constantly innovating and creating things that people value and they're ready to exchange from. You will get stranded. Don't sit in a business sitting pretty. Be any business anymore. Somebody will have disrupted you.
Okay. Am I the one that lost everything?
No. I think he's back now.
Okay, it's back now. Okay, good.
Yes.
Don't worry. VGA will pull through this together. We'll pull through this together.
Okay. For 10 minutes to round up this. So it's never been this bad. But I hope, we're getting a few things despite it's access that I'm having.
Yeah, certainly we are.
So as I go on, the screens will come up, just not. So you find that part of what I said earlier on about sustainability is to make sure that you're constantly innovating and you're investing a sufficient time in your and in your pipeline of innovation. Innovation is commercialization of my idea. Commercialization of something I like to do. That is innovation. Innovation is what allows you pivots. Okay? So I talked about this here. And it's the way to integrate, build, configure internal and external competencies to address. I hear an echo, but I think it's not from me. So basically, your dynamic capabilities.
I think the echo will be from you. VGA, is the other device, is it very close to you?
No, I've exited. So I've exited, it's not from me.
So, guys, who's talking at the back? Have you muted everybody?
I'm sure.
Okay, VGA, you can go.
Yeah, so dynamic capability. Okay, that's why, and dynamic capability is not for a business, for your own country, as an organization. Dynamic capability is things in the future. You integrate, reconfigure things internally. This is how we've always done it. You can't always do it that way. You will experience a decline. Look at external competencies, and it is an aim. Aim is to address rapidly changing environment. Hearing myself, so that means somebody is not muted. Okay, and I think that rapidly
is your wife or one of your family on this platform? Probably they are too close to you there.
Okay, maybe not, but I think can I go? Is it better now?
Yes, yes, please go on.
So basically, I'm trying to make sure nobody's on the presentation close to me. What you need to do is look at the environment changing. How can I remain relevant? My services, what I offer, the company's products. And that is all you need to do in developing abilities. Basically, that's it. And what you're doing, that you are sensing changes in the environment, sensing it strongly. And how do you sense? It's coming from the previous slide. Look at and get feedback. Get feedback. If you are getting feedback and processing your feedback, you can sense the changes in your environment. The other part is seizing the opportunity, which is about value capture and value proposition. The next is transform. Every organism, will be constantly transforming. And that is what innovation is about. The innovation I'm talking about is not about, minor innovations. We call them, it's not about having linear innovations. For example, our pack is green. We've changed our pack to blue. That's not the innovation I'm talking about, okay? That your customers are willing to pay an extra for. If you cannot charge extra, increase your transactional point, your price point from your innovation, you have not captured any value. It's a nice to have. Rearranging your restaurants, rearranging the ambience of your lounge, changing the pack size of, telling people that you now offer your services online, saying that, oh, I run a store, but I now have an online store. Those are linear changes you are bringing to your business, small incremental changes. But the kind of changes we're talking about here are significant, non-linear changes your business model. It is those kind of transformational changes that leapfrogs you and gives you that kind of advantage to be able to charge more and change your whole cost structure. When you change your cost structure, you evolve a new organization. Cost structure is what gives you leadership, because innovation will give you leadership into the future, and it will structure and better margin. And that's how you draw sustainability. If you are not improving your dynamic capability in that way, you can't be sustainable over the long haul, because you will not be able to capture new cost structure, and that new cost structure is driven by a new business model. And I'm trying to rack, and I'm sure when we get to the question models in which organizations have changed their business structure, and they've been able to capture new models, okay, and get new ways of making money, or new ways of new cost structure, and people are paying a bit more for those kind of services, okay. So I'll quickly grow to, and of course, growing leaders, to a framework as I round up in the next few minutes. This framework is something you can matrix, and you can look at your business. What this framework allows you to do is to know what you want to do. Do I want to be competitive? This framework allows you to know, do you want to plan an exit out of your industry? Do you want to be conservative in your industry, or do you want to be aggressive? Simple framework. Which you look at yourself internally. We call it the space analysis framework, strategic position and action evaluation. And this looks at your business on 4 matrix. Financial strength. Do you have deep pockets in the business? It's not a problem. You don't need to have deep pockets to be, in. But analyze yourself in a scale of 1 to 5. Do you have deep pockets? Some businesses are cash intensive, and expansion grows quite a number of cash. On a scale of 1 to 5, where do you sit? The other one is industrial attractiveness. What constitutes industrial attractiveness are things around, is there a lot of margin? Are people making money? Is the industry exciting? Take influencer wave. And we're having influencers and everybody shooting. After, I've forgotten that girl that is shooting. They were shooting from Enugu and they hit it big. Everybody today is excited about that industry of influencers and skits, post on social media. I wake up, I'm a media influencer. I don't need to do, it's exciting. That industry looks attractive. So, industry attractive. How attractive is your industry? But pure wine industry is not very attractive. Margins are being squeezed. Industrial attractiveness, if you are into transportation business with top margins and government policies, is the environment attractive? You can look at the scale. Is this my, and industrial attractiveness, I'll show you the scale and ask yourself, score yourself. Because if you can join the points together, the other one is environmental stability. What are regulatory environments? Say, for example, you're in the food processing industry with NAFDAC, with permits and all that. How exciting is it? Is the environment stable? Are the laws changing? I'm selling crypto. Are they chasing crypto people every day? Is this stable environment? Is your business heavily dependent on FX, in which every 2 to 3 years, there's FX stories? Environmental stability. Look at your business and score it. On a scale of 1 to 5, where do I sit? The last one is competitive advantage. Is there something about you that every other person doesn't have? Tell yourself the truth. Do you do something that when they ask everybody around, they come back to you and say, no, in the industry, no, these are our top 3 guys, others are coming. You might have, you might not have, you must score yourself. When you use this to analyze your business, and I'm rounding up now, it gives you an advantage, it gives you an idea of whether the direction you will need to be able to drive sustainability. So industry attractiveness, I was talking about, is there an industry that is growing very well? Do you have good profit potential? Is there financial stability? Do people like to borrow there? The big thing now is that if you're into data, you're into software engineering and coding, the industry is attractive. They are the big boys now. They're paying them in dollars. Everybody is coming in. The industry is very attractive. So are you in that space right now? Or are you in the relic of a space that's on the decline? Competitive advantage. Do you have a product that is very good, product quality people can't find? Do you have a certification people can't find? Are there things, economies of scope and scale that you have that others don't have? Everybody can produce cement, but everybody cannot have a bajana. So the competitive advantage is that the reserve capacity, I'm not saying excess capacity. Excess capacity is negative. Reserve capacity is positive. The reserve capacity built into it gives him a competitive advantage that you cannot match. That is why Saudi Arabia can process a barrel of crude at $10. They built in reserve capacity. We need to produce about us. We don't have that in your business. Is there something unique that others don't have? They are talking about financial strength and environmental ability. Are you doing transportation and Lagos State principal money Okada, and your investment is into Okada, and you've now decided to now be buying plenty Marwa, knowing fully where the Marwas are about to go? So environmental stability, climate change, all those things, how is it affecting what you are doing? Laws, local government rules, permits and all that, how is it affecting you? You score yourself. Based on how that. There are 4 for a business, 4 different positionings. that you can take. If you score yourself on all these four, you look at your business. You score is take a defensive posture, make all the money and start thinking of how to pivot. Your environment is not stable. The industry is not exciting. Margins are very tiny. People are asking you for freebies. Everything they are saying pro bono. Can't you do it for free? But see what others are doing. The industry doesn't have a strength. There's no uniqueness. It's a commoditized industry. The service you are doing, there's nothing fantastic. You are doing rental. There's nothing exciting about rental. You cannot move your price of a chair from 500 naira to 600 naira. Everybody will leave you. That's what killed pure water industry. People were not ready to buy pure water at 10 naira. That 5 naira price point was an issue. If you play in an industry like that, an environment is also a big issue in terms of permits, government issues, stability, a critical raw material is coming from FX, and you need to go to Abuja and all that. And your competitors, they are cutting prices every day. They are fighting. Elasticity of demand means you cannot even increase your demand because there's a price point. This gala, you sell it more than 15 naira, you'll be the only one to eat your gala. If you are already in that kind of industry, and you also don't have a lot of money to play, and when you look at it, there's nothing fantastic. It's a fragmented market. All of you are just free players. No big person that already have huge structure. Strategy, take a defensive posture. Take a defensive posture and begin to plan as much as possible how to exit. You know, take out your funds. I'm rounding up now. The second posture is if you find out that all your dimensions are positive. And I'll give an example of a dimension that is positive. You are playing today, and I'm using, I'll round up now. Tech industry is positive. For example, industry strength is there. It's growing. There's capital. People love it. There's grants coming in. Competitive advantage. You've got the best coders, and you know how to write some bonus programs, and you have AI capabilities and blockchain guys in out there and all that. And you got the financial muscle because you've got backers, and everybody wants to give raise and pre-seed and seed round and all that. And the environment is stable. Everybody's talking about STEM. They are talking about you. Be aggressive. Grow. Don't think it's going to be like that forever. Be very aggressive. Go bullish. Leverage everything. Bring partnerships and be aggressive. Companies you don't have, but you are looking. It's a good industry. The margins are good. There is future growth for it. That is the opportunity for you to be extremely leverage now to be more competitive. That is very well. This posture is not, you know, for you basically is just in this kind of stance, take it easy and just coast. The conservative posture, rather than your surplus, begin to take your money off the table. Defensive is think of how to get out. Conservative, we are making money for now. Just calm down, make your money, but don't reinvest, don't expand, don't increase. The policies might change. You could be outrightly banned. It's like somebody that has a beauty, people that are into, you might be making a lot of money and a lot of sound. You know that thing can change overnight. Don't carry the money and be reinvesting and investing. Because when that thing is, or at times you are making a lot of margin spread on diesel, you go and borrow from all the funds, borrow versus not a few, and you pour it inside, and you know that policy can change, you could be stranded. Okay, so this is one of the frameworks at times we use to help businesses that allows us to know what direction to take and how to pivot, and what should be the next step in how to improve the sustainability of our business. On that note, I'd like to say thank you for having me and for spending this time with me in your evening. And I sincerely apologize for the excessive disruptions to the network. Thank you very much.
Wow, VGA. I'm looking forward to an offline meeting where I can lock you up in the room like 12 hours, 8 hours, you're not going anywhere. I mean, what you gave right now.
Thank you, sir.
Share this last slide before the thank you. just makes you know that this is when to exit. This is when to invest more. And there is nothing like that. There's nothing like that. Thank you so much for all. And again, just like you said, we also apologize for the glitches. We all know that that's a Nigerian factor. Sorry, that is the situation we find ourselves in this part of the world. So we'll try as much as possible to see how we can improve on that. So good, Emmanuel. Can you spotlight Emmanuel, spotlight VGA, so that we can all be seen together? And then VGA, if you can stop sharing your slide, we won't mind. Awesome, thank you, VGA. So let's spotlight so that we can have.
You have stopped sharing?
Yeah, I can see that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again and again. Where is Emmanuel? Is he on? Has it disappeared? Okay. Good. So guys, if you have a question for VGA, it's good you go to the chat, you raise your hands right now, we can unmute you, and then you can ask your questions. We'll unmute you immediately and you can ask your questions. So quickly, let us do that. I can see only VGA spotlighted. I'm not spotlighted, so you need to spotlight me too. Definitely all of this that VGA did, you'll get it on my YouTube page, provided you have subscribed. One of my friends, one of our mutual friends, VGA, Peter Okitola from Ibadan, said since he couldn't connect to some of our programs, what he did was that every time he goes to the YouTube to consume everything, and he spends a lot of time consuming all those things there. So please go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube page, and then so that you can watch all those things, because you can't just get everything at once just by listening to VGA and what he has done right now. And definitely, we don't know where we're going to Dubai yet. I can see Samson Odegbami here. We don't know where we're going to Dubai yet, but because of this third wave, Indian variant and everything, but we're still believing, but whichever way it goes, we'll still go to Dubai. But definitely when we go to Dubai, VGA has magnanimously agreed to go with us to Dubai. Just imagine locking him up in a room for 2 days. All your questions, he will definitely answer. So we're not talking about Dubai today anyway, but before we go to Dubai, definitely we'll try and see if we can get him into Lagos. And then, so there won't be glitches then. Good. I'm still starting waiting for Manuel or anybody who will raise their hands. I don't know whether we have any hands raised or we have any question on the chat room. Okay.
There are two participants with their hands raised. There are two participants with their hands raised. And
okay, guys, if they are raised, I don't know why I can't see that on my system here. If they are raised, can you please unmute them and spotlight them? Unmute them and spotlight them. Please, if you can put on your, I was going to say put on your TV, if you can put on your screen, switch on your video, it will be good so that we can interact better. What is happening? Am I being caught up or what? Okay, now I can see being cost integrated solution. Okay, can we unmute being cost integrated solution so that he can ask his question? Can you unmute him, please, quickly?
Hello, good afternoon. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Bean Tech. Bean Cost,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, okay. My name is Muhyiddin Oladapo, and I want to appreciate this program, and I'm very happy to be part of it. It's quite insightful. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. My questions goes this way, sir. VA, good evening, sir. It's nice seeing you. So my question is that it's about the business, and also I want to get an answer to question which goes this way. Startup. There are a lot of these in terms of running, especially when you are not getting a lot of inflow coming, and keeping staff, also employing people to work with you, especially when it comes to a kind of field work that you need more hands to work together on, probably to deliver a project or something. So now my question is that at what time instead of running on a contract basis because of the inflow that's not available yet, what advice can you give?
Okay, thank you, Muhyiddin, and I got the question quite clear, quite clear. Okay, I got the question, and thanks for the question. Your question is a very tricky one. And I can say, because I don't want to give a generalized, the Nigerian business environment is very tough, extremely tough, and so it's good we recognize that. However, the question you've asked me is like someone that says, I have $1 million, where should I invest it into? As difficult as that question is how difficult this is, because as entrepreneurs, one of the critical things we need to understand is understanding numbers. If you do not understand numbers, you will not know at what point to do what. Because if I sit here and I can look at your numbers, I can to say clearly to you that you are doing this, but what you're doing is not optimized. Bringing this person in, you can achieve 2 times or 3 times this result, and you find that when you do what we call that transitional cost economics. Okay, so Nuridi, you can write it down and read more. It's called TCE. Transactional cost economics. We all do it every day. And it's a function of, should I leave or should I buy? It's the same thing about staff. Do you want the staff in-house, or do you want them as ad hoc staff for hustling? You constantly weigh that. Should I have an office, or should I be using a co-working space? Those decisions, usual decisions in which you need to take when you look at the profitability of the business.
Vijay, hold on, please. Emmanuel, we may have
Yes.
to mute yourself. There is okay, good. You can go ahead now.
Yeah. So it's that point, because it's not a blanket answer to say, oh, when you start making 10 or start making 20. No, it's usually a function of, and let me give you a practical example. Using many businesses that we have, and I think, taking a typical startup, you do field work, and I think I remember you do electrical field work and all that. I think, oh, I don't need this. To grow, you're shocked. Somebody's calling you for a meeting, and you're in a village in Udo, and you schedule that meeting. While you're away, they might have called the next vendor or the next contractor. You are thinking you are saving money, but from a transactional cost economics, having a business development manager's office, initially, first 1 month might look as if you are wasting money, but that person is attending to meetings, and you can create the value the person will bring. It begins for you to know that that person will be more beneficial than for you to be the only one. So it's not a straightforward answer. It's more around you introspecting to the business, understanding how you create value, and knowing at what stage you are. But the caveat, if you don't want it to be a hustle, you need to build to scale people. If there are people, it's not schema and risk. It's not the risk.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Well, Emmanuel,
Thank you.
My network.
Sorry, I had switched devices, but they didn't unmute me in the second device, because I heard when you were calling me. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Brenga, for tonight's session. And I must say it was really practical and functional as well. The 8 ways to grow your business, I'm saying it can be applicable to churches. So I just wanted to ask, when you said host events, does it mean hold programs? because I won. And when you say attend network events, for somebody who is a pastor, what does that mean? Because my wife has been forcing me to join a golf club. So I just wanted to know events. What does that mean for somebody who is a pastor?
So that golf that you said is my passion. So don't let me start the golf one. If not, we might be stuck here. And obviously, you see I talk a bit. Eh? So yes, talk about is hosting events is a. You remember even in your kids' school, they tell you to come for open day. Hey, you must do open day in your business, where people come in and they can see what you do. You can do it, so it can be a few friends. Look for an opportunity, Christmas program. Look for an opportunity to have a gathering of your clients and come and do something. At least once a year. For a minister, you need to be in ministers' conference. There are times you need to go and worship on a Wednesday somewhere else. You cannot just be, because we learn in different places, inspired in different places, and afford in a very dynamic way, very vocal. You think that all we do is what is sufficient. So yes, whether you're a minister, whether you're a management consultant, no matter who you are, you need to make sure that you are constantly organizing open day. Show forth what you do. A lot of people don't have an idea. I mean, PNA, for example, now, a lot of people might know committee ahead. He has, okay, there's a YouTube and all that. He needs to organize. I'm giving an example because he's here and I don't mind using him as a guinea for my explanation. He has a session where he brings a lot of people and they know all his products. Because a lot of people know. So that is the case of hosting an event where we know what is different about Dubai, what happens on Saturday evenings. And you find out that people subscribe to events and it can be an open day. But he also, of course, like you said, I mean, I've seen in quite a lot of other events, he also picked from there. So I think that's the practicality. Those two things is first, show people what you're doing so you get feedback. Also go and learn from what other people are doing. Those are ways to grow the business.
Okay, thank you so much. Somebody's saying, Chris Jato is saying, is it possible to access the link, this link again? Yes, it's possible. If you belong to the Me and the Business Professional community, you will get it on the WhatsApp group. And if you are not part of the community, just check Nee's YouTube page on Monday. Perhaps the link should be there or the video should have been uploaded. And it's something you need to listen to over and over again. I mean, it's a whole load of information that has been released here tonight. And when
VJ was saying that you have to give back to your community, that's what we're doing right now. We're giving back to our community. That's why we're not putting any price. That's why we're not putting any price on the YouTube. Listen again to the link. Kind of, we're not putting a price on it. We're giving back to our community, and people should watch out for that. By July, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the program. It's gonna be every deposit, and it's gonna be practically free. I mean, back-to-back weeks, 3 days minimum every week. We're gonna be addressing a whole lot of things for a whole month. So just watch out for that. Whether July or August, we'll let you know. We want to give back to our community so that we can follow the 8 steps of VGA right now, and so that we can be relevant. Good. I think Samson Odegbami's hands are raised.
Yes, and also Canon's hands is also raised as well.
Okay. Who do you want to take first?
I think I saw Canon's hands
let's take
first.
The Canon.
So, yes.
Okay. VGA, I just want to say that was outstanding. That was outstanding. I really appreciate what you delivered. Amazing stuff. Now, the more you explain and explore this thing, I get scared. As somebody that lives in UK, in terms of this won't work here. You know, the principles are amazing. in terms of the principles that you lay out, but the applications are so far in terms of how to deliver things in this part of the world. Owning a business myself and seeing how things are. So my question is, where is the place then for strategic relationship to share competence in delivery? Did you get me?
Will you unmute VGA, please?
I didn't hear you clearly. Just the last part. I know you said about application is different.
Yeah.
You gave an example. Can you just come over again?
Yeah, so my question is, where is the place for strategic relationship to share competence within business in the game of having a joint business?
You can repeat the question. If you heard the question, I didn't.
He said, where is the place of strategic?
The place of competence in what, please?
To share competence in business.
Yes.
I said strategic. But for me, I'm thinking about where is the place for strategic relationship, because you talk about networking, you talk about doing together. So where is the place for strategic relationship, so that in that strategic you can share competence? If one person can't deliver it, so how can they how will strategic relationship form up so that they can deliver?
Okay, that's clear. That's clear. Okay, so strategic relationship seeks the most important capital for any business survival, which is a totally different conversation. So every time people are struggling in the business, but it's not a focus today, they talk about the fact that they have no capital. But every time people talk about capital, we're talking about financial capital from the bank. The real capital and the most secure capital that drives business is social capital. And under social capital is made up of 4 things. One of the 4 things is your strategic relationship. It's your network. And I always tell people that network is not about the people that you know, it's about the people that know you. People that are not the people you can call, or the people that can call you. Not people that when they pick, they say, who is speaking? It's the people that when they miss your call, when they will call you back. That's your network. So when you talk about strategic relationship, it is an integral part of social capital. A man with a very rich social capital or any business can be stranded. What are the elements of social capital? The first one is character. The next is competence. The last one is capacity. Then, of course, you talk about your strategic relationship. Those are the 4 elements of social capital. When you have, you don't even need a dime to start a business, because everything that needs to happen is by the virtue of these 3 things. Your relationship are as strong as your character, and they are reinforced by your competence and your capacity. But first is the strategic relationship. So anywhere you go in the world, the quality, the strength, and the kind of your relationship is always a determinant of the measure of productivity or success that you have. And that is because your strategic network, irrespective of how we call it, whether it's your network, whether it's your circle of influence, whether it's your own social equity, it's always the 4th dimension in the social capital. No matter what you call it, that part is always a key determinant in how one does well. And so, yes, there are things that you might not be able to do, but if you've got the right strategic partnership, those does can actually come true. And they will invest sufficient time in building that part of their social capital. Because many things actually is about perception. And it is in that part that perception resides. Okay? And so it's critical. Actually,
Yeah.
Okay.
we can always see the mail or something and have another to explore the practicality. I know you're not in this climb, so we can always, I do a bit outside here also. I can share a few of the things we do, how we've leveraged relationships, and be a bit more practical, speaking to your specific geographical context, maybe offline with an email or something. We can do something about.
Okay, good stuff.
VGA.
Yes,
I think
yes,
you and Canon need to really connect. Canon is Canon is what will I say? Is well connected in Europe. I mean, you don't even
So
have
you forgot to add
that idea.
You forgot to add canon commensurate.
Sorry, forgive me. But you need to meet him. You need to meet him. Don't be deceived by his looks. Don't be deceived by his looks. He will be 60 in January. So you understand what I'm talking about. He will be 60 years in January. So
wow. You don't look it at all, sir.
I am jealous right now.
God bless you.
I'm really, really jealous. But let's move on to the next person so that we can get the best out of VGA before he leaves us. Emmanuel.
Yeah, Samson Odebami is already here. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. Yeah, good evening. Thank you once again, VGA. Thank you very much, sir, for this insightful session. And also thank you to Pastor Nee and to our hosts. Yeah. So my question is, what I want to ask, the part where you're talking about the difference between an hustle and your business, the network was a little bit crappy then. You know about the fact that if you cannot, how to turn from an hustle to a business, you're saying something about the fact that if without you, people cannot know how to capture and deliver value, that is still an hustle. I just want more clarification as to that, because I really like that part of it. So, you know, what is in your head? You're talking about the fact that it's still in your head. And yeah, that, you know, it's not yet the business. So I want that part of where you can take those things to your head, how you your business model, you know, and put it. Number two, also, now coming to that also, you know, you talk about the place of innovation, that we have to keep innovating our business model and all of those things. And because of the dynamic nature of business, we talk about the dynamic strategy, dynamic nature of innovation. Most times, owner, the leader that stick and coming up with a lot of ideas and innovation. So in trying to make it a business where how do you get people to begin to think at that high level? Who are your staff? You know, in this climb where people are working with you, some people are working and they have an exit plan. Maybe they're working to just save enough money to travel at home for plan B, option B, like people are saying now. So that's a big. So exactly. So people have to, and you know, because if we all check our guys, our staff, a lot of them are just trying to save up to execute their plan B, to go abroad there because of what is happening. So most of the time, because they already have an exit plan, you realize that they are not thinking, or they are not as concerned in the business. So the level of thinking and the ownership that requires you to be dynamic in your business model doesn't.
I think the network is off.
Thank you very much. I'll start from the second one so that we don't stay too long. The thing is, you must institutionalize dynamic capabilities into your business. It. Nobody will walk up to you. Said nobody does what is not measured. So what I've done in our
We can't hear you, sir.
What we've done is to institutionalize. Yeah, what I said is you need to institutionalize dynamic capability. Ensure you have a planning and a brainstorming session with your team compulsorily, once in 3 months, once in 6 months. Institutionalize it. There's a company today, it's a technology company and all that we're building, and you're shocked, it's from one of our brainstorming sessions. Somebody said, oh, I used to, from there, things evolve. Today, it's a business that we're ready to launch. It's a technology platform. Okay? So you find out that if you just wait for them to come to your office and you don't institutionalize it and make it a culture because you are not thinking about it and it's not important for you, you will notice that it won't happen. Secondly, Everybody can be thinking at that level. Spot them. There are always a few people that are having ideas flying. The beauty is that look for people that have ideas flying, but they can't execute. And then you surround yourself and make sure you have that situation. So always institutionalize it. And then it can happen. Yes, everybody has flexible strategy. All of them want to go, but it's wishful thinking. All of us cannot leave this country. It will not happen. Okay, that's the truth. So everybody will want to, some have flexible plans. How many can actualize? So the ones that you have there is a tough time. It's a challenging time. If you except you're not an entrepreneur. But guess what? Work with what you have. Okay. Then the last part, the first question you asked about a hustle is about value capture. And I can say it again, okay? I'm looking for typical examples of what hustles are, but there are quite a number of people that you ask, what's your husband? Your husband, what does your husband do? He's a businessman, he's an entrepreneur. You ask him what does he do? You say, I do everything. For example, I can help you source for car, I sell land. If you are looking for house here, I can also help you get house help. You can just send me anything. Now, you find that there are quite a lot of people, entrepreneurs, but you cannot use one word to capture what they do. If you call Aliko, you know what he do. You call Bebe. If people cannot use the easiest way to summarize what you do, how you capture value. He's a technology person. He's a management consultant. He's a pastor of a church. He's a software designer. He runs a fintech company. People cannot clearly articulate in one word. I'm not talking not being a senior entrepreneur as well. If they cannot articulate, he's hustling. And do you know the problem with hustling? In the minds of people, you do not occupy any strategic positioning. So when even those things you say you do, when they come up, you're not the first they remember them. Because people that have majored and have created structure in that place, they'll use them. But guess what? Every business you do today, you can create structure around it and build a business. If somebody can say shit business is good business, he can put structure around how they pack feces from pit latrine. Why can't you? So every business can have a structure around it. If you do not put that structure, it becomes a hustle. Anyhow thing. Today you are doing this, tomorrow you are selling coconut, next tomorrow you are selling precious stones. Then they say they're in Zamfara. Then they say agribusiness. You go for agribusiness training. Then you want to do bakery. In that process, you will find that there are just so many things, but there's no structure. If they take you out of it, it's not applicable. Remember Introtech, if you mix nitration, mix alkaline acid, at so time, this is the tighter value. You change to this color, it will now becoming pink. You know what the tighter value is. It's the same thing for business. You cannot explain in clear-cut points. At what point people exchange money? This is what I will have done. Once I do this one, someone will pay me this for this, and I can do it repeatedly. Then you don't have a business. So it's about structure that is predictable, replicable, and scalable. How you capture value. What value are you? That's what. Have I helped you, Mr. Odegan?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
The funny part is that the people outside want to come back. People inside want to go out. East, west, north, and south. There's no place like home. I tell people that the story of those that he slept in prison and woke up in palace have happened in Nigeria.
Yeah.
In most places, it may not have happened. Yes, sir. Someone is saying something.
Do we have any other question there?
No, there's no question on the chat box, sir.
Okay, good. So okay. Tokota is saying something on the chat box. Do you want to read that?
Yes. How do you help people understand the difference between a nice to have and a need to have product, especially when people are too emotional about their product? Is it similar to what you just answered now about hustle and business?
Not really. A nice product is a product without missing anything is nice to have. Try not to play there. Okay? There are many when COVID, for example, you do without them. But there are things you can't do without. Especially in this environment where most of people are living close to the bottom of the pyramid. A nice to have means that if you increase your price, people we stop attending. For example, let me give you an example of a nice to have business, okay? So I have my daughter, I have a teacher that comes to teach her how to play the keyboard. Somebody comes to teach her how to sing. Somebody comes to teach her about keyboard singing and how to play violin or something. Now, those are wonderful businesses that people run, okay? But all to have, if they increase the amount that they are charging me every month to train my daughter 1 hour per week, suddenly I will cancel everything. It does not mean my daughter won't go to school. It does not affect anything. It's nice that she can sing and she loves something, but it's a nice to have. It's not a need to have. A need to have is food, is internet, is light, is housing. When you go to Maslow's hierarchy of need, the top 3 levels of Maslow's hierarchy of need: physiological need, safety need, social need. Go and look at what is there. It's a need to have. You can basically not survive with them. Inside them is under social needs is entertainment. Owambe is a need to have at times. It's people exhale. People want to go to cinema, want to go to lounge. That's why they put curfew. They'll still jump fence and go there. They'll go and pack them naked. You might think it's a nice to have, it's a need to have. People have the need to socialize. 3 under Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a need to have. When you begin to go up, and self-actualization need, many businesses there, a port or what, a few of those businesses there, medical tourism, boat cruise, a couple of all those other things are a nice to have. Look at your business. One key thing that is easy is to say, if I decide to double my price now, will people continue to patronize me? If you cannot increase price without losing all your customers, not some, maybe your business is a nice to have.
Wow.
But there's a little bit of confusion. I have an educational tourism business where I take children from Nigeria to South Africa, schools, on educational tourism for 1 week. And it's a nice to have, okay, but I increased the price from 650,000 per child to 850,000 per child, and we still have clients. So does just increasing your price make it a need to have? Because I consider it a nice to have. If the child doesn't
all
go,
your customers
lose anything. You said?
Customers stop coming to you.
Are they coming?
When you increase your price, did they all abscond?
No, they didn't all abscond.
Problem is that to you, you think is a nice to have. To them is a need to have. They are building travel here. Many of them are planning for their children to start writing exams and taking them out. That thing you've done gives them the travel history that they need. For you, you perceive it as a nice to have. For them, it's always from the consumer part, not from you. That's why he says some people are emotional about it. You can be emotional, doesn't mean people will do it. You might like it, but people revolve you. It means in their positioning, in your value proposition, you're a nice one. So you don't know the real need state you are feeling. You are assuming it's tourism. For them, it's not tourism. Tell you why they are paying you 600,000. You don't know the reason yet.
Even the tourism is a need to have for people who are in a particular level of the Maslow hierarchy of needs. If somebody is at the base, you can't increase any price. You increase any price, you're on your own. So when it's actualization of fulfillment, traveling, taking their children out is a need to have. It's a need to have. And then it depends on the people you're talking to. 600,000 to 800,000 for some people, that's an annual salary. It's not, that's a nice to have. It's not a need to have. So a 1 million, 2 million is a need to have for some people. So it depends on the tier of marketing that you're dealing with. And everything. But I actually really love this need to have and nice to have. It's something that you have to weigh and look at it. Okay, do I need to increase my prices right now Do I need to change this? Do I need to change that? You know, so that when people disappear, you know that, okay, my product has turned into need to have, or I am selling my product to people who perceive it as need to have. Sorry,
Need to have.
who perceive it as a nice to have product. Then probably you need to step up, start looking for people who see it as a need to have. Like some of my, I have a training coming up on the 11th and 12th of June. And the price tag on that training is 2 million naira. That's about approximately 4,000 US dollars. 4,000 US dollars. Now, right about now, we have 8 people that have registered and paid. And you know what we're talking about? We're talking about public speaking and all that. Now, for those people, it is a need to have. It is not a nice to have. The people who consider it a nice to have, we just say, I don't need it. But the people who are coming are people who feel that this is something that we need right now to be able to make meaning, to be able to impact more, and to be able to earn more. And also, it depends on how we market it anyway to the people that we're marketing it to. And I think I like that concept. I'll weigh a lot of things around that. Thank you, VGA. Hope VGA has not disappeared on us.
Just take a few minutes, yes. I like the clarity that you should view if it's a need or a nice to have from the perception of the client, not the perception of the business owner. I think that clarity made a lot of sense to me.
I think.
Can I read some things?
I think Femi Adeniba is trying to introduce another concept. A must to have. A must to have. That's another thing that we need to also look at. Good. I don't know whether Blessing is back on the platform. My mutual friend with VGA, I don't know whether he's back on the platform. It would be nice for us to hear his voice. I'm actually planning something. Blessing is somebody who grew through the ranks, and you know, when you say somebody is a CEO employee, I mean, he's not the owner of the business, but is now the CEO. Like most of the CEOs in the banks, they are employees, but they are CEOs. And also, I think that's one of the discussions that we should have on this platform, where people can see, okay, how do I make my move to the top of the ladder? Because actually, enjoyment is always at the top. The bonuses are always at the top. The relaxation is always at the top. So we look at that. I don't know whether he's here. You guys should help me look for him if he's still on the platform.
I've just checked. There's no Blessing here.
Okay, no Blessing. Okay, good. I'll get him later. So where are we going from here, Emmanuel? VGA, where are you?
Someone is asking a question on the platform and said, as one who plays in the professional service sector, how do you work up your billing structure so as not to overbill and underbill and still retain the patronage of your existing clients and attract new ones? Okay, Peony, I don't know if you want to respond to this, or can we just take announcements on Dubai while we wait for, okay, I see Victor is back on.
Okay, he's back on now. He should take his question. He's the one that spoke.
I'm working on my
question. He's the one that spoke, not me.
Okay, so I'm working on my life. I think it can get better. Okay, this is much better now. Okay, so the beauty of professional service is this quantification. I've played in the professional service industry for about 13 years, and I can boldly say it's a tricky industry, especially if it's B2B. If you are not consistently giving new value offerings, it becomes difficult. So when you say you want to charge because people find it difficult comparing to Apple. If I have an iPhone 12, I know it's an iPhone 12. You can compare it to an iPhone 11. I know the features is standard whether in the US or in the UK. When it comes to service, because it's different to separate a service from the provider of a service. And you cannot pre-experience a service. Once you're experiencing a service, consumerism happens. It's always tricky. What do I mean? You cannot say, I want to experience a restaurant experience before I decide to pay. Or you cannot say, I want to sleep in an hotel. I'll now know if the hotel is good and now decide to pay. You cannot separate consumerism of service. You can't try in it. So it's always difficult. Secondly, you can't separate the provider of a service from the service itself, unlike a product. It makes service industry difficult. What you need to do, make sure that your cost structure are quite clear, calling out the strong areas of value proposition. So two people comes and one say, I want to install fiber optic, and two of them. That's even tangible. I want to run an advertising campaign for the Dubai conference for New Year Adesanya program. And two people come in, and there are two friends he has who are advertising gurus, and they come to make presentations to him. How do you quantify your cost structure? That at the end, he is able to make better decisions. What value will you have in your cost structure that the others will not have? And I can give you a clear-cut example, okay? When I used to, I still run an advertising business, but I'm not the MD anymore, okay? So I have a substantive MD. When we were running the business and when I was running it, I found out that most agencies were not doing a lot around data gathering and data analytics. And instead of the department, I started recruiting data scientists. I'm a pharmacist, I knew nothing about data. You will be shocked that for 4 years, almost 45% of our gross income came from data-related projects. Competitors could not even handle. We were doing services, national data projects. It was because I saw that as an advantage. I saw that nobody in the advertising industry was investing heavily behind it. I had data scientists who were processing 4 million data sets. Investing in those people and that structure and that infrastructure did not make sense then. When the projects began to come in and I increased as my product offering to the same clients, when they throw out they can share to other people, they can share to only because I'm the only one that has that competence, even though we're 4 or 5 in that spend category. I don't know if you understand. So those are the ways in which you're able to distinguish yourself, use innovation and all that. And it happens. There was a top multinational, it's a hackathon that they wanted to do something. They needed a platform for teleconferencing. It was totally something, it was a media brief, but totally something that was 60 to 70% technology driven. Their office was even still, they knew I had technology teams. I had about 24 software engineers. I was supposed to be running advertising. I had all those things inside. The problem was when they sent out the brief, nobody could respond. I responded. They said the only thing is that you're even the only one that understand what we're talking about. So people, I'm not worried. If I give you a cost, you don't have the choice because I'm the only one. The only option you have is to cancel the project. So if I'm the only one, how can you benchmark me? So I will put line items that will allow me charge better profits. And that's how you can change your profit and cost structure. But if everything you do is generic, draw a man, they'll pay you the cost of generic, and every service experiences what we call rapid commoditization. Every product and service experiences what we call rapid commoditization. It becomes a commodity with time. So if you know that today will soon become a commodity, what are you adding to yours that will distinguish you from making it become a commodity? So that's where we are. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And I wanted to say something when we took the question before this one. I think it was Akimbo Boye, the man who came to talk about agriculture. What he did on Instagram really made a lot of sense. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for all you do. And we don't have questions on the chat box anymore. I don't know if Wenga Folabi has a closing tip for us. But PNA, do we have announcements on Dubai and
I think the only announcement is to let people know that we are still very much focused on going to Dubai. And then the thing about Dubai is that we've paid for almost everything that we need, that we will need in Dubai. We have paid for 5 nights. For some of the hotel, we paid for the hall, we paid for feeding, we paid for some of the tickets of the facilitators, all my staff, except one, we bought all the tickets. So we're ready to fly tomorrow. We're ready to fly tomorrow. And then it's just the COVID-19 protocol between UAE and Nigeria. And not just that, UAE also and UK, because we have a lot of people who are coming in from the UK who can't come in now. And then we were expecting a miracle on the 17th of March, which is Monday, but I'm not sure the announcement will come because UAE is still on the red list of UK. So we're watching all that, and then by next week, by the grace of God, we should be able to make a concrete announcement whether we will move it further or not. But that's that about the business think tank. We're running two. We have the business think tank, and we have the think tank for pastors. Think tank for pastors. The think tank for pastors is more like a zero-sum game for us. What I mean by zero-sum game, we're not making one cover and we're not losing one cover as a business. So it's a program that runs itself. We split the bill, the cost of production on every participant. So it's more like a give back for us because of my own primary constituency. People who know me know that I'm first a pastor before I'm a businessman. I'm first a minister before I am into business, and I have no apologies about that. So that's one, but the business is still going to go on. We have over 35 people already who are ready to go with us to Dubai for the business. So we still have more rooms, so we'll accommodate more. But the program that is coming up on the 11th and the 12th of June is the public speaking and presentation coaching masterclass. This is a 2-day residential program, 2 days residential program that we'll all get locked up together in a hotel for 2 nights, for 2 days, and we'll run it. And then it will be more like being coached and being taught how to make presentations, because as a businessman, one thing you need to realize that like of Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and all those things, those guys mounted the stage themselves to speak. And it's as if you can't even make any headway in your life or in your business without even talking to your client. And I think VG also talked about that. You just must be able to communicate, not just talk, but communicate. Because I tell people there's a difference between head-to-head communication and heart-to-heart communication. There's something we teach, which is called the psychological center of your speech. Most people don't understand that. It's not just easy for you to talk and without showing people any concrete paper or anything, and they are paying you some huge amounts to come for a program. It has to be an emotional connection. So those are some of the things that we'll teach, and it's going to be for 2 days. It's going to be intense. It's going to be, we're not going anywhere anyways. So we're going to sleep, wake up together, and then wake up, not sleep together. We're going to wake up, and then we and we get into the nitty-gritties. And then not just that, it's not going to stop there. And then we have, continuing after that, we have 30 days. 30 days where we'll have to watch you, we have to observe you, and we'll advise you and then coach you all along this 90 days. I'm actually bringing in some of my guys to be in the room with me. I mean, I have Victor Aruna, who's going to be in the room with me. Aruna Francis, I have Demola Lala, who's going to be in the room with me also, just to help people bring out the best in their public speaking, and they can mount the stage and make more money. So that's on the 11th and the 12th of June at the Hotel Lagos. If you're interested, I'm sure my people will post something on the page, on the chat room, so they can give a call. And then I'm sure they can still give you some discounts. There's still room for the discount to be given. So just call them immediately, and then they will see how you can be part of it. It's a necessary need. I think Femi Adeniba said, communication is a must.
It's a must-have.
Must-have, not a need to, not even a nice to have. Is a must to have skills. So you need to just be part of that. I think that's about the announcement, except we'll give you more details about the community, the Nia Adesanya Business Professional Community. And we're trying to see how we can get in more people in that community, and then we can have some more interactions outside all these, what's it called, Zoom meetings and Instagram meetings that we have. We want to have more interaction, because the more interactions that we have, the better for the individual, the better for us too. And again, please don't forget, also every Thursday, if you're following on Instagram, following me on Instagram, N Adesanya, not Pastor underscore Adesanya, the young team of anyway. There's a guy who is impersonating me right now, who is scamming people, but it's N Adesanya, no attachment, no senior, no great, no pastor, and there is nothing after that. N Adesanya together, and no underscore, no nothing. N Adesanya. You follow us on Instagram every Thursday. We deal with the process of birthing and nurturing organization. Birthing and nurturing organization. We call it the entreprenata, the place of birth. Prenatal, postnatal, we birth entrepreneur every Thursday. So join us 7 p.m. every Thursday, Instagram Live. But here every Saturday, we'll have 7 p.m. also. We have different things that we deal with, and we'll go deeper and deeper into some of the things that we have to discuss. I don't know my speaker for next Saturday, but I think I'm still trying to lobby one person to come in. I will see what you get to get more, hear more from us. Let me also say that if you don't have your email address, I think it's about time you give us your email address. Just give it to us so that our communication, you'll be part of our communication as we move forward. That's all that we have for now. I think as we move on, we'll get to know more. Emmanuel, I think we just take Victor bring Afolabi's closing shot, and then if he's still there.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for the time. Always a pleasure to be able to be a part of this and see where we can add value and I mean, basically seeing more people capturing value, creating value. We all coming to make our societies and our neighborhoods more livable, and ultimately making a more livable place as we create value, capture value, and become better leaders and better version of ourselves. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We appreciate. There's a clarification on somebody. Jato is just putting up his own thoughts, and I think it's worth reading. But so he said generally, he just said the business defines what is a need to have or a must to have. So please, if we don't have your details, can you please send us your details so that we can? So can you send us your details so that we can keep you posted on what's happening? Thank you so much, guys. It's more than 2 hours. It's almost 3 hours, and we still have 54 participants. Tokotaya had a question. I don't know. I totally skipped my mind. But sir, can we just hear what he has to say, and then?
Why not? They are very important to my life and to my future. So you have to unmute them.
They are also very important to me, both of them together. I can't see them anymore. Are you sure? Toko, are you still here?
They're still there. I can see them.
Okay. Can you unmute and start your video, please?
Good evening, sirs. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry I won't be able to
put the video on.
But this is what I wanted to say basically. I think the question was, I think our speaker didn't understand my question properly, even though he answered it well. The question is that I come across a lot of entrepreneurs these days, and I noticed that they are too tied to their product. at times you see that their products are actually just nice to have.
Or presented as nice
to have. And you're trying to make sure that these things need to be presented as a must-have, but they are too emotional. How do you help such people? How do you communicate for them to understand? That was basically what I was trying to ask in the chat room.
Okay.
But
so isn't that a communication question as opposed to a perception question?
More often than not, I think they are just to, at times they're trying to tell them, okay, I think this thing should be presented in this way, or perhaps maybe this should be tweaked this way, but they are actually just too emotionally tied to their product. So they are saying, this is what I want to do. And as opposed to, this is what the market wants.
Maybe, for example, somebody says, I just want to sell cold water online. Yeah, trying to help the person understand selling cold water online is not a necessity, it's not a product. It's not a must-have.
Okay.
How do you get someone like that to understand that if you want to sell cold water, it's not something to sell online? So that's just an example.
Okay, I think what you guys should do, just like Emmanuel said, the communication thing, is the marketing principle or stuff here. You need to be able to prove to the person the importance of show the person that what they have is a nice to have, not a need to have. And then you must spend time in communicating that. And I think also sometimes the guy who is even holding on to his nice to have based on emotions, that day he doesn't sell, or the day the bottom line and then the numbers are going down, then he would quickly switch over. Because I've had situations where people come to meet me also, and they try to let me know that what I have is a nice to have, not a need to have. But my numbers are not telling me that. My numbers are not telling me that. I'm looking at it, my numbers are not telling me that. So it is not a nice to have as far as my numbers are concerned. It is a need to have. But sometimes also a need to have could also be more about the future. More about the future. You can be selling now, but the question is that will you still be selling in the next 5, 10 years? So if you can paint it that way, then they could start saying, okay, in as much as I love my nice to have, according to you, it's you that is saying nice to have. In as much as I love my nice to have, then let me also go for the need to have that you have to propose to me. So it has to be something that we manage both ways. But it's all about marketing, it's all about selling it, it's all about communicating it effectively to them so that they can understand it. If you bring out statistics, data, and everything, trying to show them all this, I think they will have to succumb one time. But if their numbers are still very, very cooperative to them, it will be a hard sell. So what you now sell is that, are you sure that you keep selling in the next 5 years, or in the next 5 months, or in the next 10 months, something like that. So you start playing the future, trying to let them know that this is where the business is going. This is where the life is going. So are you prepared for that?
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Pleasure. Pleasure. Thank you. Emmanuel, I think we've had a great, we've had a great time. I can see my friend from Milton Keys there, Abraham Drake. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining in. We have a lot of people from the UK. I think my friend also, Nia Rikawe, also from London, he also left. We always have our own Tolutoro, always here from Preston.
I think Eva Marie is here today too.
Yeah, I saw her. Is she still there? Yeah, Eva Marie. Good to have you, Eva. I call her my angel anyway. I hope she's still there. Yeah, she's there, waving at us. Good. You want to spotlight her so that they can see her? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good. That's my Zambian angel. Awesome. Good. Guys, we've had a wonderful time, and I'm sure next week is going to be greater, bigger, and better. And we'll let you know what we have to offer. That's on Wednesday. Sorry, we'll let you know the coming week what we have to offer, who is going to come up and then take us on. And then some people are asking for the slide. I will ask VGA if he's ready to let his slide access it. That is why you need to give us your email and then possibly follow us on Telegram. I think they posted it on the link. Follow us on Telegram so that you can see, you can be the first partaker of our news as they drop. Follow us on Telegram, keeping your business in business, and then you will enjoy a whole lot. Fantastic. So